Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, and welcome back to What If Deku Was Nightmare Sans Part 3. Last we left off, Deku had gone to the finals for the students, and he had attacked. I don't really remember if he killed off All Might or not, so I'm just going to say he's still alive. Maybe. Anyways, we cut back to Deku as he pretty much teleports back into his cabin of his base with the others. And you guys have spoken. The ship is female Todoroki and Deku, and you guys have also said to give him multiverse travel. So, I'm gonna have him bring back the original. I'm gonna have him bring the original villain Deku. So, hope you guys don't mind that. Actually, I'll find a Deku later on later on during this episode, and I'll just bring him in. Anyways, as Deku was talking to female Todoroki, everyone noticed that these two liked each other. So they would always set him up on little dates and little get-togethers, and they would always hang out. So after a couple of days of them just hanging out, getting used to each other, they did start going out. But Deku said he was going to be gone for a few days. He needs to go pick up a new friend. They all waved goodbye to Deku as Deku turns into a ball of liquid and just evaporates into the air. Now we cut into another universe. This universe has a villain Deku that's feared for various reasons. It's mainly his speed. Yes, I'm bringing in my Flash Deku in this series. I just thought this would be a good idea, see what would happen. So, as our goopy boy here is sitting on top of a roof, our Flash Deku runs up onto the building and spirals around it and stands next to him. Then decides to sit down next to him and asks him, "So, who are you, octopus guy?" As Deku secretes a small black tentacle and just shoots out and wraps around Flash Deku's neck as he says, "Don't call me that, and watch who you're talking to. You're talking to the leader of a big crew of villains. Now," as he lets go and he says, "I want you to join me. Join my crew as we invade the multiverse, taking it over, one universe at a time, one planet at a time." As Deku thinks for a second and says, "You know what? That might actually be fun. But I can't, you see. I still gotta cause mass chaos here and still gotta work on my abilities." Deku says, "Fine. As long as you cause negative emotions in this universe, I'll be able to feel it. And I'll get stronger. So, have fun. Flash. Or should I say, Dark Flash." As he pushes him off the building with one of his tentacles, Deku falls off the building as he screams out, "Curse you." And he spins himself around and then starts running down the building as fast as he can to slow himself and to get it at a certain terminal velocity so that he doesn't splatter on the floor. As he just rushes off in a flash of red, Deku looks at this and says, "Interesting, that kid. He definitely will be useful." Well, as long as he's here causing chaos, doesn't matter to me. Now, as he looks up into the sky and says, "Let's find another one. Another one that won't, well, be a pain in my ass." As he does the same thing he did when he left, turns into a liquid, then fades into the sky. As now we're into the Horror Sans AU, or What If. As we cut to Horror Deku Sans, as he's just sitting there with Momo and Eri and his own kid in another country as they're just talking. Then Deku just teleports him behind him and says, "Ah, Izuku Midoriya for Multiverse 73. Or should I say, Horror Deku. He just turns around and looks at him as he gets up ready to fight, as he launches bones and blasters at him as they just go through him. Deku just regenerating the lost parts that he has and just stands there still. Pulls out his hand and waves his fingers side to side, saying, That's not a way to talk to your new favorite person now, is it? Horodeku gets confused as he asks, What do you mean, favorite person? I don't need anyone else in my life besides these four. Or these three. And Deku holds out his hand and says, I know you want to have more fun. So, why don't we travel the multiverse and cause more chaos? As he holds out his hand, offering a shake to it, Horodeku reluctantly reaches out, then shakes his hand back and says, What's in it for me? Deku says, As long as you cause chaos everywhere in the multiverse with me, you can live in my universe along with my group. Your family over there can join us. But as Deku raises 4 tentacles over his back, he says, If you betray me, I will know it, and I will not fear to kill you. You just witnessed how my regeneration abilities were better than anything else, and I am practically unkillable. So, as the tentacles go back into his body, he says, Now, sorry for the little scare. I got carried away. But I have to prove a point. So what will it be? Deku of Universe 73. Or Horror Deku. His hand's still out waiting for him to shake it. Deku looks at Momo, Eri, and his kid as they all look back and they say, What are you gonna do? Deku says, Don't worry, you'll still have time to think. I'll give you about a week. Alright? Alright. Bye-bye. As he turns into a liquid and just disappears. He didn't leave the universe yet. He just went up to a tall building, just sat there, looked over the whole city. As he thought to himself, this kid's already caused a lot of chaos. I felt it as soon as I ate that apple. But it's not enough. I have to get stronger. I have to conquer this universe. I have to conquer the multiverse. I have to be stronger. As Deku snaps back to himself out of his little power complex, as he says, Now, in my universe, it's already been about 3 days. So I'm going to head back, and I'll visit everyone. As he comes back to know that everyone was just doing the same thing they usually do, going out getting supplies, getting new members and new weapons and such. As Deku warps into the main room as everyone's there that is new and they raise their weapons at him, Deku's tentacles come out and pierce a couple in the legs, making them pretty much bow down as he says, Ah, yes. Now that's the proper way to greet your new leader, servants. As he walks to the back room and sees the others that are originally there and they say, Boss, you know that wasn't cool, right? Todoroki walks up and gives him a little peck on the cheek. And she says, You know, those are our new members. You aren't supposed to hurt them. Deku scoffs and says, Yeah, whatever. Now, I'm gonna be gone for a few more months. Don't worry, whenever I get back, we'll have a little fun. And in this, what if the training camp doesn't happen until about 5 to 6 months later? So Deku's gonna be gone for 4 months. In these 4 months, he's been looking for the perfect candidate to join his team, and he found it. He finally found it. As he warps back into the Horror Deku universe, as he walks up to him and says, So, I've given you plenty of time to think about it. What do you say? Join my group? Horror Deku looks at him and says, "Fine, we accept your offer." Deku says, "Excellent. Now, grab onto my hand. Don't worry, this won't hurt." They all grab onto him as he says, "Alright, prepare for multiverse travel." As they all turn into a liquid, dissipating into the air and then reappearing in the spare room. As he says, "Now, welcome to your new room. I know it looks a little crowded now, but don't worry, I'll be taking over this world and this universe soon. So, get ready to build your own house." As Deku walks out of the room, female Todoroki, or just Todoroki, looks at this and walks up to him and asks who that is. Deku says, "Our best and newest recruit. He's from Universe 73, also known as Horror Deku." As Deku then walks out and his eyes are flared up red, holding his axe over his shoulder, and he says, "Hey, boss, you mind if I go hunting?" Deku laughs and says, "Sure. Just bring back some blood for me. We have a member here that loves it." Deku says, "Alrighty, boss, I gotcha." Wait, just a sudden realization. I shipped Toga with Horror Deku, didn't I? Oh shit, it was Toga, not Momo. Fuck, I'm stupid. Momo was the Lelouch series. Fuck. Anyway, it was Toga, not Momo. So, if you heard Momo, scratch it. I just caught it. As Toga walks out of the room, and she says, "Oh, look, it's a female Shoto Todoroki with the villains?" As then the other Toga would walk in the room saying, boss, we have a problem. I drink all my blood." As the two Togas would look at each other, pointing at each other and saying, "There's another me here. Boss, Deku, what do we do?" Deku's face palming himself and says, "Will you shut up, you two?" "I'm sorry, wife of horror, but this is my villain, Toga. She's not, well, as bright as you, probably, but she still is the same you. She just works under me now." As Deku would just walk out, going to his room, as he just lays down on the bed and just sighs and says, "Now, I have to figure out who else should get to join us." And what you're about to hear is a preview for 3 more series of stanzas I'm going to do, so I hope you enjoy them. Deku thinks and says, "I need to go to Universe 83, 96, 52, and," as he thinks for a second and snaps his finger and says, "the Anti-Void." As Deku disappears, Deku first goes to Universe 96. Killer Deku. That's right, I'm doing all the Dekus or all the stanzas I can. So, be prepared. As Killer Deku rushes at him with this black liquid rushing out of his eyes and a knife in his hand. This red circle imprinted on his chest. Killer Deku runs up and says, "New XP, new XP," as he slashes him and the knife goes through him, and so does he. He just goops through him. As he falls on his knees and Deku reaches a tentacle wrapping around the neck and says, "That's not how you greet your boss." Holds him up by the neck with one of his tentacles and throws him against the wall. As he says, now that you did that, you owe me a favor. Join my team or you'll die." Killer Deku says, "Fine, whatever you say, boss." As he says, "Perfect. Come with me to Universe 56. As he still holding on to Killer Deku, warps into Universe 56. And I'm not gonna call him Dust Deku. I'm more like gonna call him Bloody Deku. Yeah, because people here don't turn to dust. They bleed. So, as Bloody Deku sits there with blood red with a blue pupil in both of his eyes, says, "More prey, more experience, more. No, I can't kill you, but the one next to you, I can." As his eye flares up, as he's about to shoot blasters at him, as Deku reaches out his tentacle wrapping around his neck and says, "I don't think so, buddy. Now you're gonna join my team too. You wanted to threaten me. Well, my team, you're joining it now. Sorry." Now, I know I said, I think it was Universe 156. Scratch that. We're just gonna go to the Anti-Void. Deku warps to the Anti-Void with Bloody and Killer Dekus, and he meets a weird glitching out Deku just sitting there. Blue, what looks like tears down his face with red, completely red eyes with one yellow and blue and the other one just a dot of red. One eye partially closed and the other one fully open. As that one Deku turns to see 3 other Dekus there. Oh my god. Sorry for that cut. I had to deal with some rodents. Anyways, as this Deku is about to fight because he knows exactly which multiverse they're from, as Deku just turns into a goose, slides in front of him and grabs him with his hand and says, I wouldn't do that. Now, you're pretty powerful, and you like causing destruction. I want you to join my team to conquer the multiverse. This Deku says, no, I will never join you. And he just raises his hand as these strings come out, grabbing onto the others. They're going through Deku as he's still holding onto his face, and he says, nothing can touch me. And he just grabs him around the neck with his tentacles, and same for around each limb, and says, now if you don't want to lose these limbs, join my team. The other Deku just sitting there for a second says, fine, I'll join. Deku says, great, as he drops him on the floor, and he pretty much just falls to the floor and says, now, since you seem like you're pretty much a air person, I'm gonna call you Air. Now, let's go to my universe, as they warp into his universe with these 3 other powerhouses. As he says to the team, now, attention everyone. Meet your 4 new members, the strongest in this group. First we have Air, and Killer, and Bloody. As then he points over to the back as Horror Deku sitting there, and he says, and Horror Deku. And Horror. As he says, these 4 are now your newest and proudest members. Treat them with respect if you don't want to be killed by them. And that's where I'm going to leave it off. Next part is going to be going over the training camp. And yeah, so I hope you guys like how I did this part, adding in the multiverse as well as the ship. If you guys don't, you guys can tell me in the comments how you want me to fix it. But I'm not going to change the whole storyline. This episode is just pretty much like a filler of how he got most of his new teammates. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoy. See you guys in the next video. Peace.